Hi everyone, we're going to quickly go over importing data into a SQL Server database. So the first thing you're going to want to do is log into SQL Server using your Management Studio. Once you're in, you're going to find the database that you want to import the data to. Sometimes you'll have multiple databases. Mine does have multiple, so I'm going to choose the one that I want to import the data, which is the AdventureWorks. I'm going to right click that and go to Tasks and Import Data. You're going to get the Import Data Import and Export wizard. You're going to click Next. Your source data is going to be your Excel file. So you're going to do the drop down here and go down to Excel, and then you're going to find where you have dropped your Excel file. So either you created it or you downloaded it from SharePoint, but whatever that location is, that's what you're going to want to put in here for your path. I put mine here in the C drive, so I'm going to choose that. And the first row has column name, so if yours doesn't, then you would unclick that, but mine does have column name. So I'm going to move forward here and click Next. My destination will be my SQL Server. So we're going to go down and choose our Microsoft OLEDB provider for SQL Server. It should populate your server information. For mine, it just has a dot here because this is my local machine. But yours should have your server name or computer name. And you're going to be either using Windows authentication or your SQL Server authentication. It depends on how you set it up for your account. So however it is that you're logged in, go ahead and use that. Make sure that you have permissions to import, because sometimes you may have permission just to read, not read and write. So if you have permissions, then move forward. The database will be my ADV_data. If that's not the database you want, then you would choose it from the drop-down list, but it should populate with whichever database you chose when you did the right click and did the import. I'm going to click Next. I'm going to copy data from one or more tables or views. To me, this is the best method for Excel. Writing a query can get a little bit wonky when you're dealing with Excel. I use that more for pulling from different databases if I don't want all the columns or if I need to do some customization. So you can copy data from one or more tables and click Next. I want my customer information. And you see here in destination, it creates a database for me. Sometimes you might have, if you're dealing with Excel, it might have like a $ and the table name. So it will create like a temporary table for you. My destination is going to be the DBO. If you want to change that, you can do your drop down, or I'm sorry, you can double click that. And you can edit your SQL here. If you need to do any edits, you can drop and recreate. This is for a new database, new table. If you have an existing table, it is going to look different, and I will show you that. So if you wanted to edit, you want to name your table something different, you can do that here. So it's going to create table and whatever it is that you name it. This is only for new. And I'm going to click OK. And it also does give you here your data types. So if you need to change a data type, you can do that here as well. I'm going to click OK and OK. And if you want to edit your mapping, if there's any that you don't want, you can do that here as well. And click OK. And then I'm going to go to Next. You can either run it immediately or you can save the SSIS package. Because we're just doing a quick and dirty, we probably won't run this again. We're going to run immediately. If this is something you're going to be running on a daily basis or multiple times, then you can save your SSIS package, and that way you don't have to come in and do this again, especially if it has like tons of columns or multiple tabs in the Excel spreadsheet that you need to import. Then you might want to do it that way and save the package. But I'm going to run immediately. I'm going to click Next, and I'm going to click Finish. It goes through. It copied my data successfully, so 19,820 rows. I click Close. I go now to my tables and refresh. And you'll see that I do now have a customer table with data in it. So now that I have the customer table, I'm going to show you again how it looks if you already have the table existing. So you're going to go to Tasks, and import data. And next. Your data source will be your Excel spreadsheet. And you're going to browse out to it. And then you're going to choose your Microsoft SQL Server. And next, and copy data. And here, we already have the destination table. So I'm going to click on that. And here you can delete the rows. So if you want to truncate all the data that's in there, so if you don't want it to append, then you're going to change that from append to delete. And that will truncate everything that's in your table so that it'll be a fresh load. And also there's the enable identity insert. We're not going to look at that because we're not doing an incremental identity field. So I want to delete all my rows. I click OK. And if you want to preview your data, you can take a look at your data. Click OK. Next. Run. Well, you know what? This time I'll save it. You're going to save it as a package. And you have options here if you want to encrypt sensitive with your user key. So this is going to be important if you are deploying this to another server. So if you're not going to be running it on your database server or your computer where you are saving it, if you're going to try to, run it in SQL jobs that's listed, your SQL is on another server. This is going to be important because that key is on your local machine or wherever you are creating this. So you want to encrypt your sensitive data with a password, and you would create your password here, retype your password. And that way when you deploy that package or insert it into your catalog to run it from your SQL jobs, then you can just put the password in and it should go. And I'll just click next here and we will run it immediately. So it's going to first truncate the table and then reload it. Another thing that happens sometimes is you may have a special character or a return character or a special character that's going to throw things off if this data is going to be imported elsewhere. So if you're using another pipeline to send this somewhere else, here's a little trick that I use. What you could do is save it in like a staging table and then pull from that staging table. So the query that you would use to do that is here. And I have run into this issue before where Jenkins picks up the table and there's a return character. So here, this line here, I just use it on our row GUID ID, and this removes the return character. So you're going to do a replace, and then your column name, char 13 plus char 10, which is going to be the return character. You're going to replace that with nothing. So you're just going to put your 2 ticks. If you wanted to replace it with an actual character or NA or anything like that, then you would put that in between your 2 tick marks there. And then you name your column. If you want to name it something different, you can, but I named it the same as it was before, which is row GUID ID, and just remove those special characters, that return character. And then you run that. It gives you the same data, except if you did have a return character in it, it would take that out. And that is going to conclude this lesson.